IVM.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Litnama. I'm your host Lakshmi Krishnan. Today's episode, of course, we're recording this in September, and September has been a special month to me for multiple reasons. But since 2019, another reason has been added to making this September really special. And that is the fact that Litnama as a podcast, as an idea, as a journey for me began in September 2019. So yes, we sort of are moving towards a whole year of knowing that this is something that we wanted to do. While I was doing all of this, while I was trying to figure out where do I fit in the entire scheme of universes and all the amazing podcasts that happen, not just on the IVM network, but also beyond, my family and my friends have stood by me, helping me with their feedback, refining this idea, and being the best critics I could ever expect. It was just high time for me to introduce y'all to someone who is a brilliant artist in his own space, but also someone who's an ardent supporter of Litnama since day one. The guest on today's episode who's going to join us right after this short break is a graphic designer, is a caricature artist who's known on the internet to be someone who just as dead-end quotes, someone who befriends comedians and artists by his brilliant art. Someone who's been lauded and applauded by so many people in the industry for all the amazing artwork that he has produced for them. And someone who's not known by his first name as much as he's known by his art moniker, which is art.superfied. Please join me as I welcome Saurabh Singh.
Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli, Don Bradman, and now Cyrus Brocha. Okay, probably not in the right company. I mean, Don Bradman is Australian. But it's called Cyrus Says, a wonderful show about everything. Find the show on the IVM Podcast app, ivmpodcast.com, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hello Saurabh, welcome to Litnama. I mean, should I go with Saurabh or should I go with Superfied? I am not so
Hi
sure.
Lakshmi, you can go with Saurabh only.
Great. Okay. I'm not going to pretend like, this is the first time we are talking to each other about our career, about our life goals. I think one of the things I really miss about Mumbai at large is just sitting at Marine Drive and both of us just talking about what we think about art, culture, politics, and the whole world at once. So, yeah, I mean, this is probably a virtual equivalent. So just imagine that we're sitting on the parapet of Marine Drive and there is a
Yeah,
crowd of people trying to get pictures with the sunset at any random angle possible.
yes.
And so, I mean, Litnama is not something that's new to you. So, like, it's a thing that I don't have to explain the
Yeah,
purpose
yeah.
of why I ask so many nosy questions to people.
Mm-hmm.
Also, maybe this is the first time we've had like a certified fan up on the episode.
Yep.
Like someone who has heard most of the episodes and knows and has given me feedback. So this is another scary feeling
Yeah.
that you might just turn around in the middle of the conversation and be like, no, Lakshmi, this was not up to the mark as to the previous episode when you had someone else on.
I've literally binge listened to all the episodes in quarantine.
I'm so grateful for that. Thank you so much. I mean, all the validation is important in the times we are in today. But that being said, I mean, caricature artist is a very interesting designation,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when I first saw your work, I read about you in the Dead Ant article that speaks about how, and it was very rightly said that how does this one comedian draw his way into like the friend lists of comedians. And I mean, most established people in the comedy scene do know you personally because of your work. And I mean, that is amazing to say the least. But how did you discover caricature, or was it something that you always knew you would be doing?
So, first of all, my style of art is caricature as well as basic illustrations, like basic character
Okay,
illustration. So I do both of them. And
okay,
caricature, I got them from newspapers only. Like we used to read the newspapers in school or not, and we used to find these cool cartoons which were too political, but
yeah,
they they had put such impression on our mind that wow, this is cool. Like the way they would show certain leaders or certain celebrities, that you would know that this person is, even though it's not as the same illustration, but the way they have demonstrated it in a caricature, it looked like, yeah, I know this person. So from there I got interest in caricatures. And for, I guess I was in class 7th when I thought of doing Photoshop. Like we used to do that cool neon
Edit.
overlay. Yeah, yeah, the strokes around your body, like you are you are trapped in a live wire. So from there, my whole Photoshop love for Photoshop and learning Photoshop, that energy came.
Right. And so you never had any formal training in design. You never went to like a school to study design, but you now work as a full-time graphic designer at Social Samosa, and
Hmm.
at the same time, so many interesting projects on the side. One of the most favorite ones of mine being the Melanin Art Project, and I really like your eye. I mean, I'm not like a like I'm not someone who's supremely knowledgeable about art, or I don't know everything about the art universe. But like there was a very interesting Tumblr post I read about how the vision of the director sort of changes the whole movie.
Hmm.
And they had used the example of Harley Quinn, that when Harley Quinn is featured in other movies versus Birds of Prey, when it is directed by a female director, the entire vision of art changes. The vision of how you look at people changes, and you draw people.
Hmm.
I mean, that's too essentializing of me, but I like how you see people. You know, that you notice the smallest things, and this also comes from a very personal place because I have always noticed that you do draw the nose pin I wear whenever you've drawn me. And I mean that I don't know, like for you is might just be like a part of practice, but for the receiver, it's almost magical that someone sees you and you feel seen in a particular piece of art. And so when did you realize like like art superfied as an entity would happen, and how did the name superfied come about?
Okay. The name Superfat Daman nomenclature is a funny story. So back in school, we used to go to physics tuition, and
Okay.
we had one Haryana ka teacher, physics teacher.
Oh.
So he would use those Haryani slangs like bawda and such words, which were funny, but yeah, they used to put some impact. So once he called me Super Bawda. I don't know
Okay.
from where did that come from. So my friends started calling me Super from that moment.
Okay.
So I never had a nickname. For someone calling me Super, I was like, wow, this is a super nickname. So yeah, I went with it. And like when I was thinking about doing, like making an image, like a brand image or just like an artist image, I was thinking like I won't use my own name like Saurabh Singh Art. I won't use something like that. I wanted to do something different. So I thought of using my nickname Super, and Soupified came. It's a very weird story actually.
But I'm just, I mean, we're recording this on Teachers' Day.
Yep,
So you sort of owe a lot of your career to that one Haryani teacher you had back in school.
yep.
Uh, I mean, that says something about the kind of impact teachers have in our life. But I feel like whenever I look at your art and I see the people you've drawn, they respond to you in the comments, and it's an exhilarating feeling, right? To even get through, because I mean, you're not someone who comes from like a very highbrow institute of art, or someone who's been like like in and around in these circles. You
Mhm.
are like that Ant article calls you, like you're very much an outsider to art and culture world. But now almost everyone knows you because of your art. Did you like start noticing when that shift started happening in your life? When did it really start? Like, what was that one artwork that accelerated all of this?
Okay. So first of all, happy Teachers Day to all the teachers. And I would like to say something about one of my teachers.
Okay.
I was in class 10th and I had one Sanskrit teacher.
Okay.
And at that moment, I used to doodle on my notebooks, and she would give assignments in class, like show me your assignments, and I would have done the assignments, but beside that, बाकी का पूरा खाली जितना भी स्पेस होता है पेज पे, it would have doodles like faces and
Oh,
what not. My imagination, my weird imaginations. So that teacher saw something in me, I don't know, but she said ki if you want to do this, you can do this, like, but keep it in a good place. Don't draw on books and like
right.
yeah. So actually that was the moment when I thought ki like I can draw, like I can start drawing and let's see what happens. Talking about the big icebreaker, it happened in 2018.
Okay.
So at that moment, TVF had released some web shows like Tripling and Pictures. It
Okay.
was before 2018 actually. And out of nowhere, I drew this actor called Amol Parashar.
Hmm.
And he reposted it. And I was like, what did just happen? Like I'm seeing this person on my screen, and I'm so astonished by his acting skills and like his swag. And this guy is like, he's putting my name and he's giving me credits and everything, and he's replying to my messages. It felt something special at that moment. And yeah, and after in a week, I guess I drew 7 to 8 people from TVF, and all
Wow.
of them surprisingly reposted in their stories or reposted the post in their feed or replied to me in the comments or messages. So that was like wow. It didn't just happen. And after that, in 2018, 2017 only, September 2017. uh, okay. September is a very special month, I guess. Yeah, so it's my birth month. Okay. So I drew Vicky Kaushal from this movie called Manmarziya.
Right. Yeah. I remember that one. Yeah.
Yeah, and I had no expectations that it would even reach to him or if he would see it. So I drew him, I posted it, I tagged him, and the next day I'm seeing that it has been reposted by him on his feed, and
Wow.
he has written quotes. This one is so cool, buddy, and he tagged my name r.superfan. I was like, wow, oh my god. So yeah,
Wow.
that happened. Yeah.
I mean, but is it now like, are you now finally used to it? I mean, from Vicky Kaushal, you went to Ranveer Singh,
Hmm.
and you also recently been in touch with Piyush Mishra. I mean,
Yeah.
is it, are you now like very chill with this? Are you now used to this kind of a lifestyle?
I'm actually not. I like, for someone like Piyush Mishra, the fact that even if I'm messaging him and I can see that scene under my message makes me go like, wow, this guy knows I exist in life, like in universe. Saurav Singh exists. So yeah, that is a very big thing about that Ranveer Singh. It was basically a collaboration with Yashraj Talents. So
Okay.
they had asked artists to do a caricature for Ranveer Singh for the movie Simba, which was a
Right.
promotional project. So I was a part of that, and he also reposted it and tagged me. So yeah, that was a very major aspect of my career, and it had changed a lot of things. Like now that I can see like thoda sa validation.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like every major artist in the country at this point, you made a shift from engineering to art.
Mhm.
So, how did it go at home? Because you know what, sometimes I consider myself really lucky. Also, because there's a lot of patriarchy at play when women pick non-STEM careers. But when I told my family that I want to pursue English, they were more than happy with that choice. But how did it go at home telling them that after finishing your degree and landing a job in Mumbai, that you're going to leave that and work somewhere where you are basically a graphic designer and also do a project for them, which is honestly brilliant. Like, to anyone who's listening, you should go check out hashtag Villain Wednesday. Saurabh draws some really great villains from Bollywood, Hollywood, and more. Any villain that you've ever known to exist on this planet is a part of their project, and you should check it out. But the plugin aside, how was the experience actually telling your family that this is what I want to do? Understanding that you come from like a joint family and there's so much happening all the
Yeah, so it's a long story. Long story short, while I was in my class 11th and 12th, I was thinking of doing the shift from a technical or med non med to art, not in terms
time.
of the degree, or not in terms of what I'm studying in school, but after school, like in graduation. So I was
Okay.
thinking of doing bachelor's in designing or something like that. But I failed at the first attempt for NIFT, and yeah, that was a huge setback because I had some plans for that. Because if I had cleared that examination, the path would have been easier. But
Right.
my family said that you can't. We can't wait for another year. Like, you prepare and then you are given another exam next year. So meanwhile, you can just enroll into a valid degree. I'm saying valid degree because in India, something related to something related to technology or medical is supposed to be a valid degree. I don't know why this happens. This is very primitive thinking. And yeah, so I did BTech, and I was not a big. I couldn't like I used to pass just at margin level. So I did that for 4 years.
Wow.
And my family used to say that if you are not enjoying it, then leave the degree course. I was like, wow. Eh,
That's so much fun. Like,
why? What is this? What is this sudden change in the thought process? But yeah, I did that, and after that, I tried working at various places, like in designing only. I was never
okay.
an engineering job kind of person. So I did some internships in Delhi. Basically,
Okay.
I'm from Delhi only. I was born and brought up in Delhi, so I did few jobs in Delhi, and then I moved to Mumbai. And in Mumbai also, I started, like, I had to get a stable. Like, my family said, you have to get a stable job, so try doing something related to technical job. So I started a job in a testing company as a test engineer, and that happened for like 6 odd months, 6 to 8 odd months, and rest is like a like a dream coming true, because I had never thought that I would be working at such a big organization,
Right.
an organization like Social Samosa, where like I had the transition from November to December 2019 was like amazing. So yeah, since December 2019, I've been working at Social Samosa as a graphic designer, and believe me, the people are amazing there, and they are very supportive. All the content team, design team, the bosses, everyone is very supporting, and yes, I'm loving it.
I mean, I have a lot of questions, right? So I picked you up from a very visual medium and I got you to do a podcast with me.
Mhm.
And I know that this is one of your nightmares, to speak for more than 15 minutes to one person. I mean, you would rather draw, and I know that. But I'm just a little curious that you said when you didn't crack NIFT and then you had to pursue engineering. And you said that it was a setback. Um, how, looking back, like from this position where you are employed in the dream job, as you described, looking back, how does it feel, looking at that setback today? Like, do you think you still would have been here or somewhere else if you had gone to NIFT, or would that have increased your skill set? What is your perception towards traditional training in art, uh, looking at how you've completely self made your entire design career?
Yes, actually, the skills would have been more improved because
Okay.
I would have been getting theoretical as well as practical knowledge about the designing aspect. I'm not sure about the job thing because, like, we know what's the situation of jobs, design jobs in India, and yes, you get internships at very good companies if you are passing out from a good college of NIFT, like a NIFT Mumbai or a NIFT Delhi, that happens. But after that, it's all up to you, like how you're going to accelerate from there, like from an internship to a full time job at a renowned company or a renowned workplace. That happens, but I don't think my NIFT degree would have changed a lot
Hmm.
with that because I guess experience matters and the amount of work I have done for different organizations in last 2 to 3 years as an intern or as a full-time graphic designer has given me like something to irrespective of my degree so that yeah.
uh, I could actually hear you like trying to piece things together. I think that question was too much of a throwback, that you had to actually struggle to be like, has it or has it not?
Yeah.
That is what
I
I
mean
love
I
doing.
mean जो हो गया वो हो गया like we can't change the past. Yeah.
Wait, is this the first time you actually thought about that particular setback again after all these years?
uh Actually, I don't take it as a setback because at place I am where I am right now, yes, I lag in terms of certain designing aspects. Like I don't, I really don't know. I don't have any theoretical knowledge about designing,
Right.
so I don't have any nomenclature like what is called what or anything like that. I observe and I draw and whatever I design. So that is one thing. Except that, I don't think anything is negative or a setback.
That being said, since you told me that you observe and draw, I am going to scrap all my questions about color theory that I was going to ask you in this episode.
Yep.
I think this would be a good time for us to take a break and for me to come back with better questions that are not sounding like an actual viva that you sit through.
No, it's okay. It's cool. It's cool.
Perfect. Okay, Saurabh, let's talk color theory. Oh no, we'll join you right after this short break.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. If you're not following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Intel, for coming back to us. We love our sponsors. If you'd like to be one of them, do reach out. So, really, really cool week on the network this week, right? Started off with a bang. Abhijit Ganguly was on Cyrus Says. Funny comedian. I think you guys will enjoy that. We had Dimant Parekh on Advertising is Dead. Dimant's the founder of Better India. Govindraj Athiraj is also on Uncle Please Sit this week. That's a really fascinating show which they talk about fake news. On the Habit Coach, there was a crossover event with Aditi Surana from Absolutely Right. I think you definitely enjoyed that. And last but not least, definitely a show I'd love you all to check out. We have a new show called This Round Is On Me. It's hosted by Gauri Devi Dayal. If you remember, Gauri and I worked on a show together called The Kolaba Cartel a while ago. Fun show. If you haven't checked that out, do check that out. But this is a show where she's talking to a lot of different people in the food space. Her first guest is Harsh Mariwala, legend in his own time. I think you'll really, really enjoy that show. With that, let me get you back to your show.
So, welcome back after that rather short break. And I obviously have a lot more questions, of course, not related to color theory, but uh, so sorry. Okay, so now we've discussed like your educational foray and your work, but I want to talk to you a little bit more about what it is like to be an artist on the internet today, right?
Mhm.
Because your work is primarily digital. Um,
Yes.
very few times do you actually get it out in print and all of that. But I mean, plagiarism is like synonymous to internet today.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially when you're an artist, and on that, if you draw people or if you do caricature, and also you come from a fandom, right? So when you're drawing people, like you like their work, and that's why you are drawing them.
Mhm.
But how do you figure? Like, have you been in situations where it becomes too difficult um, to even like get that sense of objectivity when you're drawing someone? And by someone, I very specifically am hinting towards Gulshan Devaya, because I cannot do an episode with you and not mention Gulshan Devaya. So for the lack of context, and let me fill you all in. So Superfied is basically Super Gullu fan. Okay. Um, I think if we draw a collective analysis of people in his life that Saurabh has drawn versus how many times he has drawn Gulshan Devaya, he would still rank higher despite the number of people he has drawn.
Mm.
So that being said, how do you strike the balance between like um, fandom and like representing someone in their real form? Is it easy when you're a fan to draw someone? Does it get difficult when you don't know their work as much? What is your process like?
Hmm. So fandom is basically like, as I said, I started the whole getting an image thing was back in 2018 when Amol Parashar and other members of the TVF, at that moment TVF, shared or reposted. So at that moment I was their fan only. Like, I loved their acting and whatever they were doing at that moment. OTT at
Correct.
that moment was not in India, was at not that level, but because of
Right.
TVF and Screenpati and all those other platforms helped OTT become what it is right now. So I was a big fan of Naveen Kasturia or an Amol Parashar or Sumit Vyas. So that was actually my fandom getting converted into art and
Right.
people liking it because people can relate with it. Like, if I'm drawing Amol Prashar as Chitwan from Tripling, I would do that swag, specs, glasses, or that cool hairdo, so that
Right.
people can relate to him and like at the moment they see that illustration, that motherfucker motherfucker song starts playing in their head. I want to
Right.
relate to people at that level. So fandom was a major part of like me getting into the place where I am right now, and this fandom only helped me get to Gulshan Devaya. So Gulshan Devaya contacted me last year, 2019 January, when he was like, I like your work. First of all, the fact that an actor, an A class actor, is like DMing you on Instagram is a huge thing for me. And I was the Mard Ko Dar Nahi Hota movie was like, I was listening about it for a year before he
Right.
contacted me. So I had this in my mind that wish I could draw him, wish I could draw him and he would repost it. It would be so cool. But he he himself came to me and I was like, wow, did that really happen? So he said that he saw Vicky Kaushal's illustration that he had reposted. Vicky Kaushal had reposted on his feed, which
Okay.
he found pretty cool, and he wanted to collaborate with me. And I was like, sure. So basically, I I made promotional merchandise for the movie Mard Ko Dar Nahi Hota Hai, and I got a chance to be at the premieres also, and I met
Oh.
some super amazing talents of this country, of the industry Bollywood, and I was just mesmerized to see those people. I was like, bro, I have seen them in on screen, like, and they are standing in front of me. They're talking to me. I can see Jim Saab's lips are moving. I was like, wow, this might sound this might sound cringy, but it was at it is like, just like the way I'm saying it, I was feeling the same way when I saw James Saab. And Kalki, and Ritasha. Actually, Ritasha has been on your podcast.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
she's like an IVM favorite because of her show as well.
yes, yes, and I I was not expecting Ritasha to know me, but
Okay.
once I said this is Saurabh, she said I know you. I was like, what? So I had drawn Ritasha in past, but I was not expecting that she has seen my work. How would she know me, and how would she know my name or? But yes, she did, and yeah. So from that moment, the Gulshan Deviya chapter started. Like from yeah, like I started. Everything was related to Gulshan at that moment. Like I used to draw him again and again for every topic, and he would repost it. He would DM me. He would reply to me. I was like, wow, this is so cool. And yeah, the
I like how
super.
you call it a Gulshan chapter.
Yes. So we have started this hashtag Super Gullu Fam on
Oh,
Instagram. Yeah, I have I have found some fellow fans of Super Gullu, and we do this spamming thing whenever he's live on Instagram. We start saying Gullu OP or whatever, and
that is actually when I
he actually
sorry,
notices that.
that line again because we spoke over each other. So
Yeah,
three,
sure.
two, one. With he noticed. 3, 2, 1, go.
Yep. So he actually notices that, like if we are spamming, and he would say at the end, like he would say all the names, Saurabh and other people are here. Thank you. And I'm like, yes, credit mil gaya. See you
That is
soon.
so cute. No, but also for me, when I look at your Gulshan Devaya chapter at large, I see the merchandise designing for Mard Ko Dard Nahi Hota.
Hmm.
Also, I see the time. I also remember the time when you had posted Irfan Ji's caricature just
Hmm.
after he had passed away. The Pan Singh Tomar one, the one you never finished.
Hmm.
Uh, and it sort of completes itself in its incompleteness. And it was beautiful. And I remember Gulshan Deva had shared it, and suddenly it was picked up by half of Bollywood and other half of news channels. And of course, there was a huge controversy that happened around that piece.
Hmm.
Um, but I just see that he's been such a supportive, like, I don't know in what capacity can I call him a mentor for your art, but he's just been that push of motivation, right?
Yes.
I just want to understand what it feels like when all of a sudden you have all these eyes on your work, right? And I mean, one thing I really admire about artists is that you can still lead a regular life,
Hmm.
like the best of both worlds, Miley Cyrus situation,
Hmm.
where for a moment you can choose not to be art superfied. Or is
Hmm.
that a choice? Or like, how does it work when you have like an online persona of an artist and then you have your life? How does it go?
I don't think there is a difference like in my art life or my personal life, because I have taken it as a part of my life only, the art thing. So whatever I am doing, whatever I am seeing around myself, it is going to impact my art.
Right.
Take an example of Irfan Khan. So I drew him 2 years ago. Like I started drawing him actually for the Pan Singh Tomar thing, and I don't know what happened, and I stopped working on that illustration. And the moment I came to know about the news of his demise, I was shattered, and I couldn't. And I wanted to complete that illustration, but I was not sure if I would be able to do that, because I was not
Stay.
emotionally stable that moment.
Right.
So I thought of posting it, but yeah, I wrote in caption that this is not a complete illustration. I wanted to complete it, but let's see if I will be completing it in future and posting it. And Gulshan sir, being the support system he is, he reposted. Before reposting, he actually DM'd me and asked me for for permission, like if I allow him to repost it. And he said that I don't want to put your name, because else people will take it as a
Opportunist.
collaboration, or like a business thing, and I don't
Right.
want to don't want people to think like that way. But he tagged me, So if someone is tagging an artist on an illustration, it makes sense. It is obvious that this person has made it. You need not to write credit colon the username. So
Right.
he tagged me, and I was okay with it. Like, but the moment other media houses and the big media houses started using that image, I was like, what is happening right now? Matlab, you are paying tribute to an artist by copying someone else's work and not giving them credit. How valid is that? So yeah, I had to literally spam. I and yes, artist support artists is a very big aspect of today's generation, because as the digital media is growing, the number of artists on social media and are also growing, and the unity, I can see that unity. Like, if if I'm not getting credited by a particular media house or a company for an illustration or caricature, I can see my fellow artists spam them with comments, spam them with DMs, like, please tag that artist, please credit the artist. You can't do this. This is not fair, and which is totally valid. Like,
Right.
because we don't have a big name, or like, we can't go to court or a or a online complaint. We can't complain online every day, like, my art is getting not
Stolen.
yeah, my art is getting stolen and everything. So that helped me a lot, because many a people from my art circle and people I know took the effort in commenting or tweeting to the certain media house, and they made sure that I get credit, and in the end I got it. So yeah,
Right. I
I
mean,
saw.
that tweet had like 1,000 retweets, right?
Yep, yep.
Asking for the media house to give you credit. And
Hmm.
that shows the solidarity.
Hmm. And but yeah, their response was very very lame. Like, there was no remorse or anything like that. Sorry, we couldn't. And I like, I saw that, I reverse searched that image on Google, and I found hundreds and hundreds of reposts without crediting me,
Oh no.
which was a setback, because they actually took the image from the media house who reposted it at the first place. So that chain started. Hundreds and hundreds of people started reposting, and nobody. And I don't have that bandwidth that I can DM every single person or every single organization that you are using my image. Please credit me, which should not be done. Like, an artist should not beg for his own credit, his or her own credit. Like, please credit me, I am the artist. This should not be done, and this is totally unfair. So people should understand, like, it's just, you have to just write a single sentence, or you can just tag them. You don't have
Right.
to even write a sentence. Just tag them that this illustration is by this person. That's it. But
This just makes me think about when you said that when you reverse searched the image, you found out, and some of these people were very high profile artists, right?
hmm
By themselves. So it was not like this was just any layman.
hmm
People knew that there is most definitely someone drawing this. But I'm just curious because I'm also thinking at the same time about all these apps that have come up, Photolab and all these other places where you can upload your picture and make an edit which looks like someone has sketched you.
hmm
And it's so scary because I remember the first time I ever owned a sketch was the time when, malls used to have those machines that you stand in front of and it takes a snapshot of you, and the
hmm
computer does like a pencil drawing of you, and
hmm
you could get it framed. And
hmm
we used to pay so much money to get that one,
Yep.
right? But I'm just a little confused when it comes to the digital space. Do you feel like us Indians or on an international scale, people in general are very indifferent to the kind of media we consume that we don't even think about like a picture or a meme or anything that we see on the internet today has maybe a human being on the other side creating it with X number of hours that they've put into making it. Do you feel that the indifference is just casual and like almost habitual, or is it purposeful in nature to leave out the artist sometimes?
I guess people don't even. I think people don't even, like, bother about crediting the artist. Matlab from the grassroots level, if you teach in schools, like for example, if you are reading a book, if your teacher is teaching something and there is an illustration in the book, for example, a painting of Raja Ravi Verma,
Right.
and there is nothing written on that sheet, on that picture, that this illustration is by Raja Ravi. It all starts from there. Like, how would that kid know that who has drawn this? How would he
Right.
start respecting that artist who made that effort? Or a photograph. I can see so many images being shared on social media, and nobody gives a damn about crediting the photographer. Like, photography is not an easy task. You have to mind so many things while taking a good picture. So, and people say that artist puts a big watermark on their image, and it shows like it is a very negative thing. But for example, a shutterstock puts a big watermark of shutterstock on its images so that people don't copy or stole that image, which is quite valid, to be honest, because if it had not, that watermark had not been there, people would have used that image multiple times without crediting the artist is not getting a single penny from that, because nobody is respecting that his individuality. Okay, I guess you understand that.
I also think about the time when, like you make a lot of these parody slider posts,
Mhm.
which is about like the Vogue magazine, just like the Vogue magazine, about people who said big things, looking at their position and power, or the Sarvagyani series that you have. Um, Very often than not, meme pages take screenshots and post those, and I never see them credit you, or I never see them crediting any other artist they steal things from. Um, but how do you like? Is there any solution to this? Even when Shutterstock puts a huge logo, I mean, this is just yesterday when we are talking about the 4G app, right?
Mhm.
The game on PUBG, which is said to be plagiarized, or that the cover photo that was used to announce the app was said to be plagiarized from the US troops and all of the chaos around it. Do you feel like we will never learn as a generation or as a society to do better? Or is there any way in which can we improve?
I don't think we will never learn, because we have learned a lot in like last 3 to 4 years in terms of
Okay,
crediting the artist. I know the growth is very slow, but yes, the change is happening. Like, for example, if someone is posting my work in today's time, I'm not talking about the big media houses, but a normal person would tag me.
right,
And I understand the difference, because see, if you are in power and you are like, no, nobody can do, we can we can steal anyone work. And it is happening in every art industry, be it music or filmography or anything like that. So it's not limited to designing or anything like that. So yes, that thing is happening and the change is happening. I'm not saying that it has been done completely, but yeah, the change is there. And what was the next question? Sorry.
talking about if we improve or not.
So I did this. As we know, the new education policy have been revised last month. So I did this post about what our new education policy should also include.
Right,
It should include crediting the artist and ask seeking permission before reposting a work of someone, because it can be personal and he or she don't want to put it in public. When you are reposting it is possible, and that might trigger them if they find that work that
right,
outside their private space. So I think it should be done while in school, because like we are taught major things are taught in school only, about
true,
behaviors, about every behavior. And this is basically a behavior, like what is your behavior towards an artist. And we know the positions of artists in our country, like as I said, the valid job thing. And people in my circle or my family, some of the people are still like, what is designing him, what is this even a job, and you are
right.
doing it just for leisure and just as a hobby. But bro, please, matlab, I'm putting my effort. How can you call it a hobby? I'm doing it 24/7.
And I mean,
And
as point, looking at the job designation that you have as well, it is paying your bills, right? So, I mean, you've managed to convert your passion into a profession.
Yeah. So also that also brings to the point of underpaying the artist. So
Hmm.
if a artist is being paid good, like according to their skill set, so they are going to pay their bills, or they are going to do their expenditure on their own. Society would know that now he's getting paid good, and like even though he's doing a designing job, or he is an artist or a freelance artist, still he's that means that that sector of job has opportunities and has scope. For example, take it in engineering. Like
Right,
not every engineer, every boy or girl passing from an engineering college is becomes an engineer, right? Or
right.
get hired by a big IT company. But there is a mindset that engineers get paid crores and crores, so they have made it a valid job, just like a doctor's. So
Right.
same thing has to happen with designing also. Freelancers are not paid on time. Their payments are delayed, and this freelancing thing is so matlab, I I would
Another
rant
episode
I would
altogether.
rant about it 24/7 freelancing. Yeah, the main, it's just another occupation, and you should respect as you respect the other occupations. It's as simple as that.
Right.
Once you start respecting a person or the community, they will feel the artist will feel good, and changes will happen. Yeah.
And we can just pray that these changes happen really soon. But I think one last question that I have for you today is also that uh, the times that we're living in are increasingly political, right?
Hmm.
And I mean, we have had these conversations over and over where I'm generally the one trying to put a filter saying, sort of, that sounds a little unnecessary as a pun. Can we not write that?
Hmm.
Because sometimes I think about the aspect of, are my friends ever going to be safe, right? And I mean, I don't want to be someone who polices artists, but the time where political cartoons were a thing has been long gone. I mean, the times where you could actually make a particular, like we started this conversation with, that you used to read these cartoons in newspapers.
Hmm.
Uh, they're starting to become increasingly neutral.
Yes.
I won't be surprised when there comes a day when they've actually vanished, right? How do you, as an artist, look at the world in these increasingly political times, not just in India, but looking at the way crisis has evolved around us, and how you say that everything that happens around you impacts your art? How do
Hmm.
you then, you know, try to keep your sanity in the middle of all of this?
Okay. This was a long question. So, as we started the conversation and we talked about how I was astonished by the cartoons in newspapers back in school days, and one of those was R.K. Lakshman's, though
Right.
that common man which he drew, and that said so much about that. I mean that the caricatures they have made 20 years or 30 years back are still valid, which
True.
is like which is like the world is, you say the world is growing, the times are changing, but certain things are not changing. And yeah, political, I'm not saying that you have to be political about everything, but in a free democratic country, if a if a leader is given options to say anything or anything he or she wants, an artist should be given that same freedom, no? Like if I want to, I'm not going to, I'm not that good orator, so I'm not going to take a mic and start shouting on a loudspeaker. I would rather use my mouse and keyboard to draw something useful. So I'm doing that. And if you are finding it, if you are finding it, what should I say, offensive, then I can't do anything about that, because I am in my, I I have my borders, and I am not crossing that border about anything. So
Correct.
I am in my limits, and I'm doing my thing in my limits. So it should not be a problem for you. And if it's a problem for you, then try to ignore that. You can't be na ki you can't be like ki, how dare you say anything about this, and you will you will start spreading hate and whatever. That's
True.
not how things work. I took a medium to present my thoughts. You take a medium to represent your thoughts. I'm not stopping you. Nobody has stopped you in like 60, 70 years. You have been spewing hate all over, all around the country. Nobody has stopped you. So how dare you stop me? It's as in, and being political, I don't think it's a problem. I understand when you say that certain things are going out of the way and it's unnecessary. I really appreciate when you say those things, because after I self analyze, and I think that yes, it was unnecessary and I didn't need not to do that. So yeah. That being said, I will I will keep on sharing, and I will keep on sharing my thoughts in terms of art, be it political or apolitical, whatever, be it a meme. And yeah. And yes, I have certain people in my, what should I say, shooting zone,
Wow.
because of their thoughts and because of the things they say in public, which
So
can
when you say
which
shooting, you don't mean like an actual gun, right?
no, I mean the art shoot.
Art shoot. Okay. Art shoot.
Yeah, yeah. So yes, I will keep on pointing them out, like what the things they are saying on, which is not accurate, or and yes, they can't do anything about that because I am in my limits. I know my boundaries, and I'm not crossing my boundaries, so you can't do anything about that.
I mean, you started with saying that I don't think everything has to be political, and then you just defined how everything is political by itself. I mean, art and an artist can never not be political. So, and at the point that we live in the country, apoliticalness is not an option. But that being said, this has been such a wonderful conversation.
See,
But
yeah.
before we log off, I'm just a little curious. So, when you say you are, like, I know you're self taught, so you learned a lot from the internet, which exactly is the place where you exist largely. But if you have to tell us that if you want to learn how to design or how to, I mean, not, I'm not trying to take your job away, but I'm just saying that if there is some place I can go to learn what worked for you, what would you recommend for others?
I guess the best source of learning anything online is YouTube. First of all,
Oh,
it's free, and
yeah,
there is a wide range of people who are making stuff, online courses and everything. And they are not. It's not like that they learned yesterday and they started making a video to the next day. They have been in the industry for like 5 to 10 years. They know their basics, and they know from where they came from, and they are trying to share their knowledge with you, and it's free. So just use that thing now, because I don't think school will ever take an initiative to teach people about art or graphic design or anything like that. Yes, you make a scenery, we will give a plus in that scenery, and yes, the drawing exam has been done. That's it. That's the level of school drawings which is being taught in school.
yes, this is such a personal attack.
Yeah, so I would recommend
Yeah, I draw.
YouTube and other platforms such as Coursera, and because if you want to learn something specific or
Correct.
theoretical or advanced, then you can enroll for a paid course on Coursera or anything like that.
Perfect. So, since the round of personal attacks is now coming to a close, I will take a leave with my scenery. But, Saurabh, where can we find you on the internet?
Okay, I'm available on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. You can find me on Instagram by art.superfied, and the same superfied goes for Twitter and Facebook. Yeah.
Perfect. This has been such a great conversation, and I cannot wait to see more amazing things from you, be it in art, be it in all the amazing political adventures that you lead yourselves on, or just arguing with your family, talking about how your design career is legit, be it everything. It's so exciting to see you grow and to witness all of this. And thank you so much for agreeing to
Thank
be
you, Lakshmi, for making me a part of this. And I'm a big fan of Litnama and a big fan of IBM podcast because there is some really cool stuff which is broadcasted on this channel also, and I really love it.
Thank you so much. And also, happy birthday.
Oh wow! Thanks a lot.
We so of course, I do follow you on art.superfied, but I'll ask everyone else who doesn't for some amazing art. Follow him, and also he belongs to an artist community that is very open in sharing feedback, tips, and tricks. So if any one of you listening is an artist and wants to sort of upgrade their skill, they can always reach out to Saurabh by his DMs, and he'll be more than happy to help with all that he knows.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Saurabh.
Thank you, Lakshmi. It was great talking to you.
You too.
Have you ever wondered how successful people do their thing? How do they navigate the challenges they often face? Are you wondering about the future of restaurants, film, education, technology, and everything else in between? Hi, I'm Gauri Devidayal, best known for being one of the brains behind The Table, an award-winning restaurant in Bombay. One thing my life as a restaurateur has given me is the opportunity to meet with some truly inspiring people, most often just by chatting with strangers at the community table. And that's what this podcast is about. It's about learning the new dimensions of business and understanding how different people swim this sea. It's an opportunity for me to pick their brains and ask them all the questions on my mind, whether it's about learning from their past experiences or talking about future trends. Through their journeys, stories, and insights, I hope you too, like me, will come away inspired and energized. So come, join me every Wednesday with your favorite drink because this round is on me.
This is the amazing story of something awesome. Once Chuck decided to start a podcast, and so he did. The end. Okay, that was a crappy story. But I've got some really cool stories over at my new show, The Origin of Things. On this podcast, I look at the stories of how brands came into being and sometimes evolved out of quite unexpected circumstances. And to make it really fun, I reveal the name of the brand and sometimes a category only at the very end. The show is 5 to 7 minutes per episode and perfect for trivia junkies and brand nerds, especially those with short attention spans. New episodes out every Wednesday on IVM Podcasts app or website or any podcast app or site that you happen to prefer. End of story, they lived happily ever after.